Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, unsure how you agreed to something you never intended to? What if the most dangerous people in your life don't announce themselves with threats, but with charm, with concern, and with questions that feel a little too personal? Imagine having a mental shield, an inner fortress so well guarded that no amount of subtle pressure, guilt-tripping, or emotional games could ever breach its walls. This isn't a fantasy. It's a learnable skill perfected by the ancient Stoics for navigating a world of cunning and ambition. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, unsure how you agreed to something you never intended to? What if the most dangerous people in your life don't announce themselves with threats, but with charm, with concern, and with questions that feel a little too personal? Imagine having a mental shield, an inner fortress so well guarded that no amount of subtle pressure, guilt-tripping, or emotional gains could ever breach its walls. This isn't a fantasy. It's a learnable skill perfected by the ancient Stoics for navigating a world of cunning and ambition. Welcome to Marcus Aurelius Stoic Resilience. In the complex dance of human interaction, most steps are guided by goodwill and mutual respect, but not all. There are individuals who move with a different rhythm, a hidden agenda. They aren't interested in connection, they're interested in access. Access to your thoughts, your energy, your trust, and most importantly, your vulnerabilities. These are the manipulators. They study your patterns not to understand you, but to use you. They learn your fears not to comfort you, but to control you. Confronting such individuals with anger or direct accusation is often a losing game. It's the very drama they feed on. But what if there was another way? A path of quiet strength, of calm clarity, of strategic resilience. The ancient Stoic philosophers provided just such a path. They taught that the greatest defense against external chaos is a well-ordered inner world. Today, we will explore their timeless wisdom, learning how to recognize and outsmart those who seek to undermine us. This isn't about playing games. It's about learning the rules so you no longer have to play at all. It's about disarming cunning with calm. Let's begin. Page 1. Guard your inner fears. The first line of defense against manipulation is understanding where you are most vulnerable, and it's rarely where you think. Manipulators are masters at detecting the subtle tremors of insecurity that run beneath the surface of our lives. They listen for the faint echo of our deepest fears, the fear of failure, of disappointing others, of not being good enough, of being alone. When you share these anxieties freely, you may think you are building a bond of intimacy. But to a manipulator, you are not sharing your heart. You are handing them a weapon. They don't seek to understand your fear. They seek to leverage it. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus gave us the master key when he said, "It's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things." Manipulators are experts at twisting your opinions about your own fears. They take a small, manageable anxiety and, through subtle suggestion and carefully chosen words, magnify it until it becomes a crippling source of self-doubt. They make you believe your fear is a fact and that they are your only savior from. Imagine a young, talented architect. Let's call him Alex. Alex has a deep-seated fear of disappointing his demanding father, a fear he confides in an older, seemingly supportive colleague during a late-night work session. The colleague listens with performative empathy, nodding and offering words of comfort. A few weeks later, Alex is proposing a bold, innovative design for a new project, a design he is passionate about. The manipulative colleague, seeing an opportunity, pulls him aside and says with a concerned tone, "That's a very bold direction, Alex. Are you sure your father would see that as a wise move?" In that single venomous sentence, the trap is sprung. The colleague isn't critiquing the design. He's activating the fear. Suddenly, Alex's confidence evaporates. His mind isn't on the architectural merits of his plan anymore. It's flooded with the old, familiar dread of paternal disapproval. He starts to second-guess himself, to water down his vision, to retreat into safety. The manipulator didn't need to attack Alex's work. He just needed to press the bruise he knew was there. So what is the Stoic defense, the countermove? It is the discipline of emotional disclosure. It is building your own inner fortress before you give tours of it to others. This doesn't mean becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It means choosing strength over unguarded openness. First, reflect before you reveal. Before sharing a deep insecurity, ask yourself, has this person earned my trust? Trust is not built on a single friendly conversation. It is built on a foundation of consistent, honorable action over time. Has this person shown unwavering respect for you and for others? Do their actions align with their words? Second, practice the art of listening more than you speak. A manipulator often reveals themselves through their insatiable curiosity about your weaknesses, while sharing very little of their own. A genuine connection is a two-way street of mutual vulnerability. A one-way interrogation is an intelligence-gathering mission. Finally, understand that your vulnerabilities are sacred. Share them, but share them with a select council of trusted allies who have proven through their deeds that they wish you well. For everyone else, offer courtesy, warmth, and collegiality. But guard the keys to your inner fears with the vigilance of a soldier, because a fear that is known only to you is a challenge to be overcome. But a fear known to a manipulator is a lever to be pulled. Guarding your fears is the first critical step. It protects your emotional core. But manipulators have other tactics. They don't just attack your heart, they attack your mind. They work to subtly distort your perception of reality itself. 2. Counter this, we must learn the second Stoic principle, how to protect our own judgment from being surrendered. That's what we'll explore next. We've just discussed the critical importance of guarding our inner fears, of being disciplined, about who we grant access to our vulnerabilities. This protects our emotional core from being weaponized against us. But the art of outsmarting a manipulator requires more than just emotional defense. It demands intellectual sovereignty. Their next line of attack is often on your perception of reality itself, making you doubt what you see and hear. This brings us to the second pillar of our defense, never surrendering your own judgment. Page 2. Don't surrender your judgment. A manipulator's greatest victory is not achieved by force, but by persuasion. They conquer your mind long before they make a move in the real world. Their strategy is to make you trust their version of events more than you trust your own senses, to make you rely on their judgment so completely that you abandon your own. They position themselves as the sole purveyors of truth, the only ones who really see what's going on. Once they control your perception, they control you. The Stoics were fiercely protective of their own rational minds. They called it the hegemonikon, the ruling faculty. They understood that outsourcing your judgment to someone else was a form of self-imposed slavery. Epictetus offered a powerful antidote to this kind of manipulation when he advised, "If someone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these.'" This brilliant response does two things. It displays unshakable confidence, and more importantly, it demonstrates that you are not taking the second-hand information as gospel. You are treating it with a healthy, almost playful skepticism. You are not allowing another person's alleged words to disturb your inner peace or dictate your reality. Let's see this in action. Consider Joel, a seasoned architect managing a successful team. A new hire, Marcus, joins the firm. He's charming, witty, and quickly ingratiates himself with everyone, especially Joel. After a few weeks, Marcus starts pulling Joel aside for quiet, confidential chats. "I just want you to know," Marcus will say with a look of deep concern, "I heard Sarah and David saying they felt your last design was a bit uninspired. I defended you, of course, but I thought you should know who your real friends are." Joel, wanting to believe this new loyal ally, starts to feel a seed of doubt. A week later, Marcus reports another supposed slight from another team member. Bit by bit, Joel's perception of his once trusted team is poisoned. He becomes distant, suspicious, and defensive. His team, sensing his mistrust, starts to pull away, creating a genuine rift. The atmosphere becomes toxic. Within 6 months, Joel's performance has plummeted, and Marcus, the ever-helpful confidant, is perfectly positioned to be seen as the stable, unifying force the team needs. Marcus didn't have to outdesign Joel. He just had to make Joel surrender his judgment about the people around him. The Stoic defense here is the practice of slow belief. It is the discipline of treating all incoming information, especially gossip and emotionally charged reports, as unverified data until proven otherwise. It's about being a detective in your own life. First, question the source. What does the person telling you this have to gain? Does this information elevate them, create a special bond between you, or isolate you from others? Second, separate fact from assumption. Did Marcus actually hear those words? Or is he interpreting a look or a tone? Is he reporting an objective event, or is he selling you his subjective and possibly self-serving story? Third, test the information. Instead of pulling away from Sarah and David, Joel could have engaged with them more directly and warmly. He could have observed their behavior for himself, looking for evidence to support or refute Marcus's claims. He would have likely found their behavior to be as loyal and professional as ever, exposing Marcus's game immediately. Never grant anyone the power to be the sole narrator of your life story. Value your own perception. Trust your gut instincts. Verify before you vilify. A manipulator thrives in the fog of doubt and hearsay. Your clear, independent judgment is the bright light that makes that fog evaporate. So we have fortified our emotions and anchored our judgment. But there is another, more subtle time of danger, a moment when we are most open and least suspicious. It's not when we are sad or angry, but when we are full of joy. The manipulator knows that a moment of triumph can be the moment of greatest vulnerability. Next, we'll explore the Stoic art of pausing before joy betrays you. We've now established two critical lines of defense: guarding our fears to protect our emotional core, and refusing to surrender our judgment to protect our perception of reality. These are shields against direct psychological attacks. But the most cunning manipulators don't always strike when you're on guard. They often wait for the moments you least expect it, not in times of struggle, but in times of elation. They understand that the dizzying heights of joy can make us blind to danger. This brings us to our third crucial principle: learning to pause before joy betrays you. Page 3. Pause before joy betrays you. Moments of intense happiness, a promotion, a new love, a major achievement, are wonderful, but they are also moments of profound vulnerability. Joy can be a powerful intoxicant. It lowers our natural defenses, makes us more trusting, more optimistic, and less critical in our thinking. We are so busy basking in the warm glow of success that we fail to notice the shadows moving in at the edges. The manipulator thrives in these shadows. They often strike not when you are weak and sad, but when you are strong and celebrating, because that is when your guard is down. The Stoic philosopher Seneca was keenly aware of this danger. He warned that no emotion, not even joy, should be allowed to overthrow reason. He wasn't a killjoy. He simply understood that unchecked elation can lead to recklessness and poor decision-making. Joy should be savored, yes, but it should not be allowed to become the sole driver of our choices. Consider Elias, a young entrepreneur who has just landed a massive investment for his startup, the culmination of years of relentless work. He is ecstatic, on top of the world. That very evening, he celebrates with friends, and an old acquaintance he hasn't seen in years is there. Hearing of Elias's success, the acquaintance pulls him aside, full of congratulations, and then says, "It's amazing timing. I've just gotten into this exclusive, can't-miss crypto investment. It's doubling every month, but the window to get in closes tomorrow. With the capital you have now, you could make a fortune." Normally, Elias is cautious and diligent, but tonight, buoyed by his triumphant champagne, his critical thinking is dulled. The acquaintance's story feeds his feeling of being invincible. He agrees on the spot, transferring a significant sum without doing a moment of due diligence. By the time the haze of joy wears off a few days later, he realizes he's been scammed. The acquaintance is gone, and so is his money. The manipulator didn't target his fear or his sadness. He targeted his euphoria. Or take the case of Olivia, who is incandescently happy after getting engaged to the love of her life. She feels expansive, generous, and deeply connected to her new family. A week after the engagement, her fiance's brother approaches her with a story of a temporary financial hardship and asks for a small loan. Overjoyed and eager to be seen as a supportive new family member, Olivia agrees without hesitation. A month later, the request is for a larger amount. When she finally gently pushes back, the brother skillfully reframes the situation to her fiancé and his parents, painting her as suddenly selfish and unsupportive. After all we've done to welcome her, she is trapped. Her initial joy fueled. Generosity has been twisted into a weapon of guilt and obligation against her. The Stoic defense is not to suppress joy, but to practice mindful celebration. Celebrate your victories fully, but do so inwardly first. Savor the feeling of accomplishment, feel the gratitude, and let the happiness settle within you. But when it comes to making decisions and commitments to others during these peak moments, act with outward clarity and caution. Before agreeing to anything, an investment, a loan, a new partnership, a significant commitment that is presented to you in a moment of high emotion, pause. Give yourself the gift of time. Create a rule for yourself, a 48-hour waiting period on any major decision, made while feeling ecstatic. This buffer allows the intoxicating rush of emotion to subside and irrational mind to come back online. During this pause, ask yourself the critical questions. What am I truly about to commit to? Who benefits most from this choice? Is there a sense of urgency being manufactured by the other person? And if so, why? And most importantly, would I agree to this if I were in a calm, neutral state of mind? Enjoy your happiness. Let it fill you, but do not let it blind you. A true friend will celebrate with you and respect your need for thoughtful decision-making. A manipulator will try to capitalize on your joy before it has a chance to cool. Your pause is their poison. We are learning to build a multi-layered defense, protecting our fears, our judgment, and our moments of joy. But many manipulations aren't sudden attacks. They are slow-burn campaigns of guilt and obligation. The manipulator puts you in their debt with small favors, only to demand a much larger price later on. Our next step is to understand how to set firm limits, not lifelines, and to reclaim our agency from the weapon of false reciprocity. So far, our strategy for outsmarting manipulators has focused on defending against what they try to take from us, our confidence, our judgment, our clear-headedness in moments of joy. But some of the most effective manipulators operate with a more insidious tactic. They focus first on what they can give you. They create a sense of indebtedness through small favors and unsolicited help, weaving a web of obligation that they can pull on later. This brings us to the fourth Stoic principle: learning to set firm limits, not lifelines, and refusing to let gratitude be weaponized against you. Page 4. Set limits, not lifelines. Reciprocity is a beautiful and essential human instinct. We feel a natural urge to give back to those who have helped us. It's the glue that holds communities together. But manipulators understand this instinct intimately, and they exploit it. They perform calculated acts of kindness, not from a place of genuine generosity, but as a strategic investment. They are setting a trap, baiting it with a favor, and waiting for the moment they can demand a disproportionate return. They turn the social contract of reciprocity into an emotional shackle of indebtedness. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius provided the ultimate framework for navigating this pressure when he wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Your guiding principle for action should be your own internal compass of right and wrong, your values, not a feeling of external pressure or guilt-based obligation. You are the sole authority on what is right for you. Consider Natalie, a bright junior analyst at a competitive firm. On her first major project, she struggles, and her manager, Paul, swoops in to help. He stays late with her, guides her through the complexities, and ensures her work is a success. Natalie is immensely grateful. "I owe you one, Paul," she says earnestly. "Don't worry about it," he replies with a warm smile. "We're a team. The hook is set." Over the next few months, Paul cashes in. It starts small. "Natalie, could you just stay a little late to finish this for me? I know it's not your project, but you remember how I helped you out." Then it escalates. "I need you to add this data to the report. I know the numbers look a bit optimistic, but we need to make this quarter look good. We're a team, right?" Finally, it culminates in a direct request to manipulate figures on a crucial client account. Natalie is trapped. Every time she hesitates, Paul subtly reminds her of her debt, making her feel that saying no would be an act of profound betrayal and ingratitude. Her initial, genuine gratitude has been twisted into a lifeline for his unethical behavior. Or think of Kevin, a young man who moves to a new city and is struggling to find housing. A senior community organizer, Linda, a pillar of the neighborhood, takes him under her wing and helps him secure an apartment. Kevin is deeply indebted. Soon, Linda begins to exploit this. She asks him to co-sign documents for community events, to take public responsibility for her small mistakes, and eventually to lie to cover up a significant misuse of funds. His gratitude has made him an accomplice. The Stoic defense is to differentiate between genuine obligation and manufactured pressure. It's about maintaining your own agency. First, accept kindness with grace, but with boundaries. You can be grateful for help without signing a blank check for future compliance. A simple, "Thank you so much, Paul. I truly appreciate your help," is complete in itself. It does not require adding, "I owe you one." Second, when a disproportionate request is made, ask yourself the hard questions. What is this yes truly costing me? Not in time or energy, but in clarity, dignity, and self-respect. Is this action in alignment with my own values, or am I acting out of guilt? A healthy relationship, professional or personal, is based on mutual respect and balance, not on a running tally of debts and favors. An act of true generosity comes with no strings attached. A manipulative act comes with invisible ropes. Learn to see them and refuse to let them be tied around you. You can show gratitude for a past favor while still saying a firm, respectful no to a present request that is not right. We've now built a robust external defense system. We're guarding our fears, our judgment, our joy, and our sense of obligation. But all of these strategies rely on one final, crucial element: controlling the information we provide in the first place. A manipulator can only play with the cards you deal them. The final key to outsmarting them is the discipline of what you choose to reveal. That is our final and most foundational lesson. Throughout our journey, we have constructed a formidable fortress against manipulation. We've learned to guard our fears, to trust our own judgment, to be cautious in our joy, and to set firm limits against manufactured obligation. These are the outer walls and towers of our defense. But the strength of any fortress is ultimately determined by its gatekeeper. The final, and perhaps most fundamental, Stoic principle is about mastering the flow of information. It's about protecting what you choose to reveal, because a manipulator cannot exploit a weakness they do not know exists. Page 5. Protect what you reveal. In a culture that often equates openness with authenticity, we can feel pressured to share everything: our hopes, our dreams, our insecurities, our past traumas. While vulnerability is the bedrock of true intimacy, unguarded disclosure is a liability. You must understand that not all curiosity is kind. Sometimes, when a person asks probing questions, they are not trying to connect with you. They are trying to map you. They are searching for your emotional pressure points, your insecurities, and your triggers, not for the purpose of empathy, but for the purpose of future leverage. Epictetus gave the perfect advice for this modern dilemma over 2 millennia ago. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This isn't a call to be cold or silent. It's a call to be a deliberate and mindful communicator. It's about protecting the inner citadel of your mind and soul from those who have not earned the right to enter. Consider Michael, who starts a new job and is eager to be liked and to fit in. He's an open book. In conversations by the coffee machine, he freely talks about his insecurity with public speaking, his recent painful breakup, and his anxieties about his performance. A coworker, Darren, listens intently, asking follow-up questions and appearing deeply empathetic. For months, Darren is the perfect work friend. Then comes the annual performance review cycle, where employees are asked to give peer feedback. Darren, aiming for the same promotion as Michael, writes a devastating review. He skillfully weaves in all the insecurities Michael shared, framing Michael's thoughtful deliberation as analysis paralysis. His collaborative nature is lacking, leadership initiative, and his openness as unprofessional. Darren used Michael's own words, his own vulnerabilities, to paint a picture of incompetence, elevating himself in the process. Or think of Lena, who, in the raw aftermath of a painful breakup, confides every intimate detail to her cousin Rachel. She pours out her heart, seeking the solace of family. Rachel listens, consoles her, and then, over the next few weeks, selectively shares those stories with other family members, subtly twisting the narrative to make Lena seem unstable and emotionally volatile. The trust is shattered, and Lena's most painful moments have become a source of family gossip, all because she offered total access to someone who wasn't worthy of it. The Stoic defense is to practice the discipline of silence and the art of intentional sharing. First, observe. Before you open up, in any new relationship, professional or personal, let your default mode be that of a quiet observer. Listen more than you speak. Watch how people act. Do their words align with their deeds? How do they talk about others when they are not in the room? A person's character is revealed in these small, unguarded moments. Let people earn your trust slowly, over time, through a consistent pattern of respectful and honorable behavior. Second, share with intention, not just for emotional release. Before you share a deep vulnerability, ask yourself, what is my goal here? Am I seeking genuine understanding and connection, or am I just venting? True connection is a mutual exchange. It's not a one-way interrogation where you are the sole subject. If you find a conversation is consistently focused on mining your life for details, while the other person remains a mystery, be cautious. That is not a dialogue. It's reconnaissance. Your inner world is a sacred space. It is not a public park. Be the wise and discerning gatekeeper. Let in those who have proven they will treat it with respect, and keep the gates firmly, but politely closed to those who are merely looking for a way in. We have walked a difficult but necessary path together today. We've learned to outsmart manipulators, not by becoming like them, not by playing games or engaging in battles of wit, but by rising above the game itself. We do this by building an inner life of such order and strength that it becomes impenetrable to external chaos. We learn to guard our fears, knowing they are levers for control. We learn to trust our own judgment, refusing to let anyone else narrate our reality. We learn to be cautious in our joy, understanding that elation can be a moment of blindness. We learn to set firm limits, rejecting the poison of manufactured obligation. And finally, we learn to be the vigilant gatekeepers of our own inner world, sharing our vulnerabilities with wisdom and intention. Navigating a world with complex human beings requires more than just good intentions. It requires clarity, restraint, and the courage to act in alignment with your values, even under pressure. It's about protecting your inner peace with a quiet strength that needs no announcement. When you cultivate this inner fortress, you find that no manipulator can truly reach you. They may circle the walls, they may test the gates, but the core of who you are remains untouched, serene, and free. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this message brought you even a moment of clarity, welcome to the channel. We're just getting started. See you in the next chapter. And until then, stay grounded, stay grateful, stay stoic.